You know where? I think they can. I don't know. Fine. I'm just going through. It's fun to know. So this is the quarterly meeting of the Justice Reinvestment Advisory Council, otherwise known as JRAC. This is a 12-month meeting. This is September 5, 2025. I'll call this meeting to order. The agenda and the meetings from the June 6th meeting would share by visiting that email to you. The first item on the agenda is approval of the last meeting minutes. That was June 6th. I will entertain a motion. Before that was be approved, and the third next motion is their second. I'll second. Bailey makes the second. Any questions or discussions about the minutes from June 6th? There being none, all in favor with approval, say aye. Aye. And those say nay. Motion carries. The next item is juvenile grant. Jeremiah McAdams.
Yes, thanks all. I'm presenting for Gracie today. I was kind of looking at our last report to JRAC. I guess together we kind of finished up summer and school starting. Currently she has 4 juveniles actively in programs, 2 in our Voices program and 2 in YTRI. With attendance, YTRI is probably going to start kind of pick it up once kids start missing days and you start reporting it. Gracie is still in all of the schools. She currently has a juvenile at South Decatur, North Decatur, a homeschooled student, and another juvenile at St. Mary's. We have been kind of spending our time building partners and relationships. We presented to the Rotary Club a few weeks ago. We also presented to the Optimist Club. Today we met with New Directions, Kelly Wampler. Just kind of sharing what we can do and what she can do and what we can all do together, and kind of then bridging those gaps and things and services. We also met with Champions of Youth to kind of build some partnership with them. Big part of what Gracie does is prevention. So we try to find those places where how do we get to these kids at an earlier age so that we don't have them come see us as they get older. So we're building a lot of really good relationships, and in building those relationships, I think we're improving services across the community because, you know, again, we're filling those gaps. So it's been a lot of fun just meeting these people and the relationships that we're building. Ultimately, I think success, we've seen a lot of good in what we're doing. Gracie's been doing a program called Pathway Prep. We created that to kind of address that 16 to 20-year-old, I guess, child, young adult, those kids that we come in contact with older siblings who are at home and aren't working, you know, and their parents say, we don't know what to do with this child. We're familiar with some of these kids because we know the families. So Gracie's met with a couple people. The 2 she's met with were 18, 19. And the purpose of that meeting is to help them to build a resume, apply for jobs, and kind of practice interview skills. That program can last as long as it needs to, but part of what Gracie does is just follow up. So she hands out her phone number and she checks in with them. She lets them know of job openings she knows of. So we found success in that as well. And we did this program we had a juvenile arrested for driving without a license. And we met with her. She's Hispanic. She's from Mexico. And her mom also doesn't have a license, and she was driving to and from school when she got caught. So we started this pathway prep with her as a way for her to study to get her driver's permit. And then she took her test, passed, and then we finished. So we kind of use it for those things too. And we've opened up to the school, to the community. So we run into a lot of, I guess, youth who continue to fail the driver's permit test. So we've offered for them to come interview with us a couple days, a couple weeks, just to study and then take the test. Again, now you have your permit. Now you're not getting in trouble for driving without it and things like that. Gracie wanted me to kind of share with you. We have found this program. It's called Operation Parents out of Kentucky. Judge, I think she's talked to you about it. I think our Bartholomew County uses this as a parenting program. We've kind of wanted to do a parenting program in Decatur County, but we hear a lot of stories about people don't show up, we offer food, people don't come, and just kind of not a good outcome. So we're really trying to be purposeful in how we plan this and learn from kind of the mistakes in the past. So this program is 5 sessions for about an hour. And what we've done is we've partnered with other community agencies. So Centerstone is going to present one of the classes. DCS is going to present one. We're going to have, who's Indiana? Who's our drug? What is it called?
Oh, I did.
Yeah, Indiana Treatment Center is going to present the one on substance abuse. Gracie and I went to a sex trafficking conference last week and met some people who do a real good job at social media and online. So they're going to present that. And then Court Services is going to present on like risky behaviors. So our hope is that by having all of these partners in the community, now we're getting referrals from all of these partners in the community. So you can have DCS require or strongly suggest that their parents come. We can have the courts suggest or require that, parents come through probation, through wellness court, through recovery houses. So we can build kind of a population of you have to be there, but then also hoping that through the school reaching out and things like that, we can also get more involvement from it.
There are monetary fee with the parents.
Nope. And so this is pretty new. I think we've secured dates. We've worked with Greensburg. I think we're going to do it at the Learning Center. And I think that we have childcare secured. We have funds provided for light refreshments. And I think we're going to try to do some kind of raffle. If you attend each one, you win a raffle, and then maybe a bigger like Zoom membership or passes if you attend all of them. So, I think we purchased the program through probation funds, I think, but everything else should be provided. It won't be a cost for anyone. And we're hoping to eliminate any of the barriers again for getting you there. And that's why I think childcare was an important one. I think the issues people have, though, like I said, is they provided prizes, they provided meals, but then no one shows up. So we're trying to figure out how do we get people there. And I think that by using our parents who are in recovery homes who are going to come out and be parents, let's encourage them to come. We know through probation, parents that struggle, we can get them to come. And so I think once this is finalized, we'll get it out to everyone, but and maybe from a court side too, just knowing that it's there, you'll have the dates and passing information along. I think that's it. Really good work, guys. I think Gracie's very valuable to us. She's been an asset. She loves this county. She loves the people. So it's been fun.
You get the pay for the grants.
About half and half. Circuit court pays some of her salary and the grant pays the rest.
You know where you stand on the money?
Um,
What you got left?
I don't feel great about a renewal. We're gonna try, but I know Matt and I spoke with them like last year, and it sounded like they were kind of in a transition of power and things like that. So I think it's kind of unknown right now of if there's gonna be more money or if you could apply for more. I think originally it was planned where each county in the state gets a certain amount total. And then once you've exhausted that total, you don't get any more. But I don't know. And part of what Grace and I do is trying to figure out how to sustain this. So we're looking and we're planning on applying and trying to figure out other ways to keep our programming going.
Unfortunately, with all the cuts,
Yeah.
DOC cut the wellness court grant a little bit. He said, who knows?
And I forgot to, Gracie also, through our grant, she got certified to teach Y-Tri, adult and juvenile. So she starts her first adult Y-Tri class next week. MRT. So that'll be with our wellness participants. We're going to start in there. And we've opened up MRT to the community. I think Rush County plans to send referrals over. I think when we use our outside agencies, we're going to have a cost, I think of $50. So we'll be able to start hopefully making some money. through that avenue as well.
So, public purposes of main,
Right.
or, and Marty and our facility. Joanne Cunningham and United Fund. They were really good with stuff. So maybe a resource. Also.
And that's what we,
Yeah,
because the only cost that we have is the book, you know, and so everything else that we've secured through our grant and things like that. So again, we're trying to explore the most efficient way to do things without having to pay for ourselves or ask for money.
she just invested like 1,200.
Yeah.
She's really invested in what she could. So
When I think that Gracie and Desiree have communicated about MRT, which is good because if Desiree is off, I think Gracie could come teach the class in the jail and vice versa. If Gracie needs to be away, she could come over and do that so we wouldn't have to miss. So I think that's a good partnership to have as well.
it's been a tremendous successful program.
And that transition from jail out, you know, they get out of jail and are in halfway through, they can come to ours and finish it up.
Okay, thank you. Senate Bill 9 report.
It's not out yet. So once it's out, I'll email it to you guys like I did, after the last meeting in about a week or two. So I don't have it yet.
There's no old business on the agenda, so under new business opioid grants. Just for any that might be listening to our meeting, opioid funds have been made available to all the towns in the state for some time. JRAC is the advisory board and we volunteered with the commissioners, I think it was last year, to set up a way for people to apply for these funds. There's restricted funds and unrestricted funds. We have been making recommendations to the commissioners and we've reached the point now there are more applications than there are funds. So now we have to do our job and we need to come up with how are we going to dispense these or at least recommend that recommendation. Right now there are on available restricted funds. Restricted are basically funds that have to be used for remedying opioid addiction treatment in general. We have $76,368 there in that fund. Unrestricted funds, we have not been focusing on unrestricted, so there's a little bit more in those. Those can be used for any reason. There's $130,314.25 there. So that's what we are dealing with. We had a couple people that have submitted applications that some of them have questions for. One of those is All for One Ministries. We have Alex with us today. Everybody's facing the wrong way now, but they come back around. So you don't have to come up front. So Alex, go ahead and just kind of idea what it is you are asking. Why?
So I'll kind of give you a little bit of a history and an overview of what our Generation Hope program is. This is the second year that it's going in all three of our public high schools, as well as one of our private schools, St. Mary's. So it's a youth mentorship program for primarily for that at-risk, high-risk category of students. It's in grades 6 through 12 right now, and we have hopes to continue to grow that program. But basically, the need came out of a couple of years ago. We are also the organization that oversees the coffee house up on the square. We had groups of students that would come in, a variety of different backgrounds. We had some that would come in and be great. They'd work on their homework, and we had some that would do things that we would want to see in the coffee house. So we kind of got thinking, rather than booting them for behavior issues or whatever, what would it look like to be able to invest at a deeper level in the lives of these kids? So worked with a board member at the time, Kelly Reinhold, that was on staff at Greensburg Community High School. She oversaw a lot of their academic engagement, attendance, and that kind of thing at the time. Kelly worked again with kind of that at-risk, high-risk group of kiddos that was on the brink of maybe parents were getting ready to be referred to the court because the students were absentee or whatever the case was. Grades were failing for one reason or another. So like I said, she was on the board at the time, so we kind of started brainstorming what this could look like. Got hooked up with an organization out of Louisville called Hope Collaborative that is a kind of similar mission to this arm of our organization. So they focus on three primary areas. The first is mentorship, the So they have a comparable program that they offer in the Louisville area. They offer counseling, so they have a trained licensed clinical social worker on staff with them as well. And then court diversion is the third arm of the work that this organization does. So there's that organization, and there's another one down in Houston, around Houston, Texas, called True to Life Ministries that we got hooked up with. That they focus more on like job readiness and trying to make sure that the individuals have the resources that they need to succeed. So to make a pretty long story short, we started looking at what we could do in the schools. We then started talking to Greensburg first, and then it branched out to the county schools and then to St. Mary's. But what the program looks like, we are recruiting volunteer mentors that would go into the school, meet with students in that at-risk and high-risk category on a weekly basis. All the mentors have been trained, vetted, background checked. They go through a trauma-informed section of their training, so they're a little bit more adept at picking up if things are off with a student that an average Joe going into the school might not be able to pick up on. So we've been diligent in training our mentors. We send them in with a curriculum, which is new to this Radiant Leaders. It's a 32-week course where we are trying to build leadership and character competencies in that race category. So last year we saw great results from the program. We saw a couple stats to share with you guys, but 100% of our kids in the program that responded to the survey that we sent out said that their mentor was supportive and understanding of them. 95% had increased confidence after one semester and were more poised to make good decisions. 95% had greater hope for their futures and what the next steps of life look like. And then all students that responded again, 100% had a deeper understanding of the meaning of character. So I do want to emphasize this is not a drug and alcohol necessarily related thing. Sorry about that disqualifies us for funding, but had a kind of introductory conversation with Abby early on and just said this is kind of our way for prevention to be able to happen. So we're pairing these mentors up with these students, and the hope then is that they are able to get life on a better track. So hopefully they don't have to come see a lot of you in this room later down the road. So that's a little bit about the program. Again, implementing in all 4 schools. We had about 120 students last year, paired up with 30 different volunteer mentors that we're sending in. And then the request for this year, the only thing that's really kind of a hamstring for us right now is just the funding piece for staffing. We've been able to implement the program for or purchase the curriculum through dollars that we get through other grants and through private donations. But we're really looking to ramp up this program so that we can eventually make it a K-12 program and hopefully hit the younger age groups with a little bit more early intervention, and then be able to walk through school with them to address the whole litany of needs that they might have. So that's a little bit about the program. I know you guys had some questions, and I did type out some answers and send back to Abby. I don't know if those made their way to everybody, but I'm happy to take any additional questions that you guys have. I don't want to tell you a bunch of stuff that you already know. So yeah, that's the official pitch that I have for you guys. I'm happy to take any questions that you have.
One question I just regarding time. How do you guys distinguish yourselves from each other?
Yeah, so Lisa Hermish, that's a great question. I've been asked multiple times, but Lisa was one of the first calls that we made before we launched the program, just because we try to be as big of a community collaborator as we can. We don't want to duplicate services if there's already something going well. What we found with Champions of Youth is that after, or my understanding anyways, after the pandemic hit, they didn't go back into the schools for their school-based programming. So we're hitting a different niche with these students. The primary responsibility of their mentors, my understanding anyway, is to be able to conduct their sessions in the evening time or on weekends, what it looks like. We're sending mentors in to meet with students during seminar and study up the period. And then ours is all curriculum based, and we're working in hand with the schools then. Does that answer your question?
It also sounds like something distinguishes you as training and encouragement. That sounds like a.
Yeah.
Okay, 'cause you're right. I mean, It'd be nice.
I don't know what they're, I haven't, since we launched our program, I haven't had a ton of conversation with Lisa about the specific thing or with their staff. So I'm not sure what the up-to-date information is on how that looks for them, but this is how we've chosen to roll out the program based on the recommendations of the previous recommendations that we were chatting with.
That was my question also.
Pretty comfortable.
Any question for Alex? Alex, thanks for coming in, and we'll be in touch.
Sounds good. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
very much.
So we have an ARC representative coming as well, is that correct? So, do we know who it is or?
Donald Bergman, maybe? It's hard to be Donald and Phil, yes, but I don't know. I think it's like. Exactly, Jeff Bay.
Well, and
Somebody.
Or something.
Well, you give them a van, like 8,000 and say.
I feel good about my pay well, since essentially what we're gonna be paying for the training. But I don't know where we stand on pay, if I'm meeting corrections and then. Like over. And if it's a doctor, then we won't.
It's the commissioners.
Gross, that's that, and how much we pay.
I mean, that'd be my vision, like, how,
We have the answers, we have the facts.
like, actually, here's the van, it's worth this, everybody pays us. Here's the van.
is ARC in one?
We'll turn the phrase you guys. Whatever you want.
Right, so continuing with our opioid discussion, we have representatives from the ARC. You have submitted an application, and there was some questions about that. You guys want to tell us what it is you're asking for, and turn to some questions.
So my name is Christy McLaughlin, and I am president of our board to the ARC of Decatur County, and this is one of our co-directors, Donald Brumley. And thank you, Donald. And so we put in an application. We're trying to secure funding for transportation at our facility. That's one of the major issues we have with getting our clients around. And obviously, and I'm sure you're aware of this too, transportation obviously is one of the biggest issues that a lot of recovery homes have. It keeps, especially in the beginning when we get a client, it's really important to make sure that we're getting them to doctor's appointments, following up with, health issues and concerns. And right now, our means of transportation is the other guys at our facility who volunteer to take the client or fill it, which obviously opens a whole nother realm of liability for us in our facility. I feel like our facility right now, we are consistently having between 25 and 30 clients at any given time. So that's really our capacity at this point. And for 30 people, for Donald and Phil to be responsible for that many people all the time, we can only imagine. I mean, since we've been tracking all this information through our new software program, over the last 18 months, our clients have gone to well over 1,200 meetings. That's just for recovery. That doesn't even include doctor's appointment for going to the Social Security office to secure, a birth certificate or their physical number for their employer. One of the things through men's recovery too that we've learned is that it's really important to get our guys that come into the facility working right away. Getting them back into that ideal of securing themselves and also income. I mean, the guys really push them working. And so within the first 2 weeks, we tried to secure a job. We have a fabulous system here in Decatur County of employers who are willing to, when Phil and Donald call and say, we got somebody, you're very rarely told no. And so we, as much as we appreciate that, getting that client there though, on a timely fashion, they're willing to hire that person, but then if they can't go because they don't have the means to get there, then that becomes a downfall. So we're asking for, we'd like to be able to purchase a 15-passenger vehicle. We don't have the means to start up this project, but we have done some forecasting and we do have the means to maintain it, put the gas in it, et cetera. Eventually start paying someone to do that. We'd like to find a retired person who would be willing to work for us as a driver. And so when we compass all of that, obviously the undertaking is basically what we ask for.
Anyone have any questions? Steve, you on? Did a good job because you answered all the questions. So, okay, we will, we're gonna talk about this one and several others. Back in touch with you.
Okay, that's
Yours, appreciate it. Yes.
that's the thing, guys, that we could do without that for sure.
I agree.
Yeah.
Ron's got.
And we just, to clarify too, we've not gone after any other funds for this from any other organization, so this is just would all come from this grant. And we are not funded by anybody else. We have found ways through some donors, purchase, and just being really diligent about the income that comes in from the clients and using it the best that we can. We're pretty self-sufficient. So, I mean, we feel like when we ask for something, it's because we really need it, not because we're, bumming off of everybody else to take care of us. We really do try to do that on our, as best as we can on our own, the facility that we have. So, okay.
Thank
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you again.
Okay, so that's all the live folks that we have coming in today. It is a total of five to consider. One is the All for One Ministries, the Arctic District from Speranza has submitted an additional request. There's just transportation related as well. So we have two of those starting to get categories now. So transportation for our sober living homes seems to be an issue. We've got 3 saying so. Foundations for Recovery has submitted an application for funds to go toward their mortgage. Pick that on back with, we did that, or Commissioner did that for Speranza, so they followed suit. Then we have another programming type request down in his office, Remedy Live. Well, like, so we can kind of break these down into working with our sober living homes and the financial obligations, transportation for sober living homes and program. More here toward you.
Make sure you guys can first round, it's a timing issue. FSSA, MHA put out a match challenge and they said we could not use the money that coordinate this, but we don't have to from this, would not have to receive the monies from you guys until July of next year. But before we put in the match application, we would want to know if there was work. So that's why, unfortunately, the timing of it's really weird. We've got to put in that application by October. We've already put in they asked to request for proposal, and so we did put in a proposal that that's what we'd be asking for. And so we made it to the second phase of that. So I just wanted to let you guys know that it wouldn't necessarily have to come out of those monies if there's money still coming down the pipe.
We'll get in September, September of 26, we'll get a little bit more. But we got 27,000 this time roughly, so it's gonna be less. So it'll probably be on 20 grand that we'll get next September. But this is all the money that we have until September of 26.
But there is still money that would be coming in September.
Yes, I don't know how much, and it will decrease every year. When did this start? In 20?
It goes till 2037, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it was 10 years. Everything was spread out over 10 years.
But I did want to throw that out there, like if you guys were like, hey, we want to fund Sprung if we can, but it's only going to probably be because there's some really good requests if you get that. So I just wanted to let you guys know it wouldn't have to come out of this.
I would say that we address Alex first. He put it in a while ago. That's a little easier want to potentially discuss, maybe the corner, I don't know.
What's the deadline, October, when you have to know?
I think we have to have in our, like, I'm gonna say October 6th or something. But it said we don't have to receive the match until July of 26. We need. Yes, and unfortunately, if they had told us before we got put in our app, our request, or if they would have said, yes, you can use the match you've already received, fine, I got $133.
That's a commitment from the commissioner if they need, so we do have to have a recommendation to the commissioner to make
Yeah.
a commitment.
Okay, good point.
Right.
Thanks, we have a lot to decide, because now we have more requests and funds. I think it's a good business to give a little bit to a lot of people, because it makes an impact. Yeah, really big. We're giving some good help to Speranza, but
Right.
it's also, you can't deny it's a good opportunity, because they're gonna get double the money. This transportation of happening, that's a wild card. That's help Clark, that can help Speranza.
Darkwood has more of a diary. They have no. Bronze got a van donation. Accounts since I've been up to buy vehicles, so they're not in this diet. I would say ARC needs that.
With that being said, we just eliminate foundations for the government. Yeah, it's interesting, we're trying for a minute.
So my recommendation is, because we're never gonna be able to get this out of them, we'll never have that amount of money again. But they're not taking recovery work, so they're not taking state funding that they could be taking. So that's kind of my issue. So I don't know if you guys want to say, if my recommendation would either be a no or to table it and tell them that they need to start taking recovery work. So it's a lot of money sitting there that they're not getting. And that our clients are paying for when they don't technically have to be. So I just really struggle with.
Because they were
They're not getting free
funding, they were getting recovery work money. They just stopped taking.
Right, because it's complicated and recovery work says it's complicated,
Exactly, but
state's complicated.
they can also.
I agree with that. Discuss, so.
I can tell you, we don't know the more money coming down the pipe that we could back and revisit it.
If you remind me how much the original first Speranza, how much did we give towards the mortgage?
Might be 120.
9,000.
I had another alternative to consider, although I don't object to anything any of what you said. I might vote for your idea over my own. But it occurred to me to go back to Uli and say, we're willing to recommend that the commissioners do a matching dollar for dollar towards your mortgage. And as much money as you can raise by December 31, with a cap of 50,000 or something like that. If you can raise 50,000, we'll recommend to give you 50,000 or whatever the number is to incentivize them to find some other dollars. Say we can't do for you what we did for Speranza, but we can help you and we can leverage some funds. Just a thought to
It's
consider.
frustrating because had they been actively participating in recovery works, they would have also could have gotten $133,000 match.
They get.
Because it really was up to like
That's-
150, but there may be a lot of money on the table by choosing not to jump through those hoops anymore.
But I would agree as far as prioritizing which ones we're voting on today. I'm fine with them going towards the bottom of the list. See what remains.
It might be helpful too, which of these grants do you think would qualify for restricted and which would just be unrestricted or the requests?
Yeah, I think all of them would be restricted except all for one finish.
And that would be the only one. Okay.
And I think it's a good program, and Matt said we should probably, because that one's been on the longest and tabled it forever. I think it's a good program. However, my concern is it doesn't address as much substance use, I think, as I would like to see, from substance abuse dollars. That is my only. And champions of youth, makes me nervous. Like, I don't want them to, I don't know. I want to make sure that they're not taking each other's people if they try to expand into elementary, but if they're champions of youth that isn't in the schools, then that's not.
Well, and then I think as Jeremiah pointed out, okay, so let's say you give them money to fund a staff person and then they have no money for the next year, well, then we're like. It's always the problem grantors always have with funding and salary, and that's why United Funds about the only one that does that.
Oh.
Because of sustainability, but I don't know, it's so hard, because I hate to discourage prevention and youth, you know, but that's why I really wanted to know, do you feel like all the stuff that you guys are doing? Are you seeing an impact with their things that they not all get to read their program?
Well, I mean, that's the hard thing about prevention is you can't. I know the kids that we worked with, I don't know that we've ran into a kid that's been in the program, so I don't think we have any basis for comparing. You know, I think I've seen the program he was using. I mean, I think that if you're gonna do a mentorship and have guidance, I think that's a good idea. I mean, so I think there's value in that. You know, but like we have the Champions of Youth, you know, and we have our juvenile programs for high risk, high need kids. So like some of those things are already being addressed. I think there's definitely a population that we're not seeing because I think that there are kids that work in his program that aren't criminal aimed and drug aimed, you know, and we probably would never come in contact with those. And so I would hate for those kids who needed nothing to lose the ability to do, but I don't know. And you know, and again, I don't know how necessary is that $40,000 for him. I mean, he has his program paid for. He has the volunteers that are the mentors.
Yeah, I guess this question, if you gave them a portion of the money, would it help them when the program they're doing, just not enough to have them hire?
Are we seeing success with Champion?
Well, so Grace and I met with them to try to build on, you know, on things and to try to kind of offer them what we have. And I think that they have a good plan. I think the plan is there, but I think those kinds of things struggle because you have to find mentors, you know, and you can't have service if you don't have anyone volunteering. I think they do a great job. I think the employees over there, I think are invested and I think they work hard. And I don't know if you guys know, if there is no mentor, they still communicate with the families and they still go to the homes. So if you're on a wait list, you're still getting involvement from Champions of Youth. It's just not as big as if you had your own mentor. So, and same thing, I'd hate for like that program to go because I think there's value, but I've seen mentorship programs and you know, what happens when they don't have anyone.
It would be nice to see also one actually partner where
Yeah, I think that
if they were using the Champions of Youth to bond, you know, to help coordinate the mentors, sharing, you know, some of the administrative side of it. And then they could be really focused on the actual training and development, because I do feel like that's a great part. They've got a coordinated curriculum, and very formal, and trauma informed, so important. It's like so questionable.
I think I'm agree with that. I think if they would provide the agenda and frame the already in place mentorship program instead of creating something else, which ultimately kind of is what that is.
You start with. So now there's cool.
As of right now, all for one is the only unrestricted, correct? What's our balance there?
Unrestricted, 130,314.
And restricted, people that would qualify for restricted, we could still pay them out of unrestricted.
Yeah.
Well,
Just the other way around, we can't do it.
Do we want to talk about the corners? Or what we know?
don't want to help you.
What do I know about like where we're at?
Yeah,
So
so
we're
they're,
asking.
yeah, so the county schools have bought in, and correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, so we started this conversation and find out that South Decatur had already scheduled this get school tour, and North Decatur would have had it scheduled, but they had some change, so that was their only issue, is just the person left. So the county schools are already gonna do the convocation, without the one bill can kill. So we met with Greensburg Junior High and High School principals, the get school tour guy and me and them. And it sounds like they're on board, but I think their chain of command is a little different than the county schools. So I think they have to go to the board and go to the superintendent and get approval and things like that. So that's where they're at. I think everyone is on board with it. They've got to make sure that it's okay to do.
Like what we took, or what I've been told is like, they gather live stats. So the kids will have to have their phone or a tablet or something, and they put up questions like, have you thought about suicide today? Have you thought about drug use today? And kids are answering live, and we've all been in those conferences, right, where the answers pull.
I didn't know, I didn't think about you not knowing what it was, if you're not familiar with
Yeah,
it.
no,
Yeah, if I can go if you want. So essentially you have the get school convocation, and then you have the one pill can kill, and the one pill can kill is a fentanyl initiative. And they just push out videos and advertisements to the community. But in order for that to work best, they need data. And they get that data from that get schooled, so they work best together. But the get school tour, so they come in and it's just a very real conversation about drugs and mental health, and how you're feeling and who are your safe people and things like that. And then they get all that data from your county, and then they use that information to figure out kind of what is needed with the other side of like the one pill can kill. What's good about it though is, you got Greensburg High School, you get this data of 30% have thought about suicide in the last week. You have this information now. And I think part of their push is, if you're going to do the get school tour convocation, then we want you to commit to having a safe person or a safe place at school, so that we can push it out during the convocation that if you're having thoughts of suicide, here is your person at school. If you're having these issues, here is your person. So I think it's just a real good way to have that mental health conversation, but then a school committing to a safe place for the kids.
Open now. They're actually connected to 988. They are the hub for 988, what I was told. So if, and Eagleston has contacted with 988, told us our last CIT meeting, that now any 988 referrals that go to the suicide hotline that come from here are being shifted to 988, and then they deal with the immediate if it's not 911 related. But then if it's, hey, let's follow up the next day, they shift it to our CIT team. So then Eagleston, his people can go out and do their follow-ups, which I thought was neat.
so it's just gonna be helping to educate kids that there are actual resources that like, it's not like that's what they need for that period. It's like, now you know it's there, and it's gonna remain there. We've got the CIT in place, to get those referrals. And that's,
I think their aim is to educate your community. We'll come in and do the work to get the information, and then we'll give it to you. And then you do what you want with it after that.
And we separate out to get school versus the one bill.
You could, but I think that it's one of those, it works best together, and you can't put it together separately.
and is it 30,000 for preschool?
Well, the school is free. So the school is responsible for that. But if they do this program through Penn State, which is like a pre and follow-up assessment, Penn State will pay for it. So get school doesn't cost anything. If they're doing it. One pill can kill is what costs.
That's
But it-
But
Yeah.
the referral.
Yeah, they'll take it.
Yeah, we're in the process.
Greensburg with there's a chain.
Yeah. Like, it hasn't been a confirmation. They say they want it, they say they're moving forward, but there's been no
30,000 just to pay for radio spots, and newspaper coverage.
It's to make public service announcements is what will happen from all the data. And they get local actors to do that. So then it's just the making of it, I guess, and then putting it out. Like it will run in the school. We could put it in our office. Well, I'll take part of it. But if they did, it can go there.
It's on local TV channels, it's on local radio stations. Well, we were talking earlier, I think they said it, like it'll touch like 1 million people or something in 3 months. Like the number is
That's what Brown County
pretty high.
did.
I like it.
Sounds like a Nate Carter cameo.
If they need me, I will serve.
Nate would be great.
Yeah, he has the voice.
No, I like that one. I really do because you hear all the time of kids taking something once and dying from it. It's tragic. I mean, that's definitely reaching someone before they get to the point of addiction. I like that one. I really do.
You know, I think with the kids that I work with, like as years go by, you know, I think that now more than ever, I don't think kids are picky about drugs. You know, I think it used to be, I'll smoke weed, but I won't do heroin. And now I think it's what's going to get me high.
Yeah.
You know, and I talked to a girl the other day that I think she took some Vicodin to school and ended up overdosing and ended up in the hospital. She didn't know what it was she took. You know, she didn't ask. They didn't tell her, here's some pills to get you high, take them. And she took them. And like, that's what's scary, I think, about fentanyl is, you know, there was a time when I'll smoke weed, but that's it. But now it's give to me and I'll take it
Because
because
my friend said to, and then it kills.
And they were all saying,
Well, it sounds like everything is nothing. And they said like stats are like, no, like 3 in 5 confiscated pills, fentanyl or something.
seems like a no-brainer.
Yeah, I think that's, I don't know how we come to a consensus, but
Do you want to have an overall plan that we move in second, or do you want
Probably
to go
ought to,
one
if
global?
we were to say, not now all for one. I think that's where we were headed, but at least not as opioid specific as all the others have asked. Foundations. The idea was not now until we see that you have exhausted your other financial.
I'm not entirely sure that Nate's idea wasn't a good one. Do we care where the money comes from? If we require them to raise, I don't think matching is a bad idea. The question I have is when you read Sprong's application, Sprong's the Inc. This is just Foundations for Recovery. Do they have some type of an organizational structure? Do they have a board? Is it just an individual person that owns a house? I would want to know for sure where that money was going to go. And I'm sure they may have all the answers, but I don't know what those are. I would want to know that for certain before anything
That's
is
a really
done.
good question because when Matt and Jenny Gardner kind of backed out of it, and that's where the Recovery Works split happened. Because that's when Recovery Works started pushing Matt and MAT. And so Matt and Jenny, who were the founders of and I think have a 501c3, but I think Jenny personally owned the house. They said, we don't want to do Matt, we're out, we're done. And so then I thought that Lifeline Church was taking over. They bought the houses but then
He's appointed Chris Woolley.
that's right, and then Chris Ruley is running, so
But I don't think there's a board that who reports to.
right, so I think that all collapsed after Matt.
I don't think there's. Back in,
Because there was at one point,
right, but maybe it's one we table and ask those
And we
questions.
find that there wouldn't seem to be an urgency there.
there's one to pay.
Right. But I like the idea of them having to go out and raise.
Yeah, that's great.
So do you want to table it first, have them come in and explain board issues or lack of a board,
because they don't have. Thanks.
Yeah,
and present them at the same time?
yeah, I'd be in favor of it.
Well, I'm gonna entertain a motion that we table the Foundations for Recovery grant requests for this meeting.
And invite them to come.
Like them to come back.
Oh,
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carries. So we have that one addressed.
I have another creative idea if you're willing to listen to it.
Certainly.
The ARC and Speranza are wanting very similar things. ARC has larger needs, Speranza has the ability to leverage. Why wouldn't we recommend to the commissioners that they accept a proposal that is a joint proposal from these two entities at their next commissioners meeting? And we tell them, get together, get a proposal together that joins forces, bring that to the commissioners, and we'll recommend that they accept it.
How much is your match?
Well, so because we were asking for 50, they would match dollar for dollar.
Okay.
So whatever, if you guys gave us 20, they would match. If we gave us,
Gave
yeah,
100, then
they would match 100, yes.
it'd be 50 and 50, but
I would love to
we're
hear
really only out 50.
I do to see Speranza, when we put in our initial letter of intent, we may have already said we're trying 50,000 for transportation, so we may be locked into that request. We might not be able to request 100. But let me,
What is their transportation again? What are they wanting exactly? Something similar to what?
so Speranza wants a new 15 passenger van and a new like sedan. Because the sedan would help with the around the town kind of stuff, not having to drive a big van. So, I was gonna say, and that's where I'm like, but I know that ARC's, their need is urgent. Speranza is more, hey, we're gonna have to retire our vehicles. We put a lot of miles on it. We've already, the very first van we got that was donated from Sun Companies, we ran it into the ground. So then Jeannie actually donated a van herself. I think that's what we're, and then I think we missed, maybe bought some.
Right, no, I just throwing that out there. I mean,
Yeah.
it wouldn't be
Yeah, you're right. If it's somehow, I even wonder if like, if we got a new one that we agreed to give our old vehicle to ARC or something like that.
I would be game for saying, if these two organizations can approach you with a joint proposal, we're in favor of you giving them the money to up to this much to meet that joint proposal's need because of the leverage outside dollars. Instead of saying we approve this project and this project, so we want to see a joint project, and if they bring in one you agree with, go for it.
Things for all to be acceptable and agreeable then.
I don't know why they wouldn't, because something is better than nothing. So
I assume I'm using it every day.
I will say, I know Speranza also gets frustrated because ARC could also be getting recovery works as well. And we have offered multiple times to help the ARC learn how to put in the WITS vouchers. Like it's, and I told both programs, like, look, Speranza hired Devin Dwayner to do it for it. Like you got to commit to paying somebody to do these for you, and then it will get done. And then once we brought Devin in-house, she then trained Jeannie, so now we do it in-house. But it is frustrating when two organizations leave a lot of money. Mind-boggling.
I forgot, I'll agree.
Yeah, and they could, I think they got approved as a level 2, so they could be, they just haven't taken the next step to learn how to get trained to put in. And I don't think they realize that recovery work has all kinds of other monies, like we've put in for all kinds of other little smaller grants, and so that's why we got offered to do this matching grant, because we're part of this statewide system, and that's my only frustration, and it's not like we haven't offered multiple times to help.
And that is also a point of clear demarcation where you're not playing favorites. If Speranza were to get more grant money than the other ones, they're going out and they're doing the shoe leather to get all the money they can. So it's not straight apples to apples comparison. While they both, all of them do very important things, they are really, really leveraging their ability to get money. I mean, that's something that I consider.
And I guess I just have a hard time with people not taking recovery works. I know it's a pain. The medication assisted treatment is a pain. And I have my own personal thoughts on that, but I know you guys take less money
It's funny
because you don't get it. So they could still take it. They just wouldn't take less.
they would only get $22. We used to get 32, and then when the changeover happens, Frontenac one gets 22. But we were willing to drop down to 22 so that we didn't have to have Suboxone. That was the choice we made. Both of them have to.
Or do we know, is there like any old county vehicles? Like old county vehicles that are ready to maybe not be county vehicles anymore that we could. Are they?
Yeah, you kind of want high maintenance.
I was gonna say, like, if you guys have your van, I'm assuming the county doesn't get any benefits there. Or you guys kind of almost need to sell it.
We need to sell it to recoup it. Yeah, but at a non-marked price on the used vehicle.
I know that, but
Figure out
like,
what
one of
it's
those
worth.
really weird double dippy things where the art gets money and then they're like, hey, you got this money, here's a van to buy, that's not $80,000.
Well, I mean, we'll have to get the wholesale or trade-in value, right? Do that number and say, commissioners, we want to sell them, that's the plan, but hopefully where the funds, it's priced, which is, if they can't buy it cheaper anywhere.
Right.
It's open.
Right, it makes them able to get a vehicle they would not otherwise be able to afford. Sponza was very blessed that some companies, Devin,
Sure.
Danette, Kennedy, on our organization, she's like, we're getting ready to turn over a van, I'll just donate the van to you. So they did get that burden. Others did, yeah.
I don't know what the committee wants to do. In general, I definitely want to give money to the Speranza Foundation Yard. I don't know what that looks like.
Right.
Speranza has to have an inch of the day if they're gonna get voted, right? You know that for sure.
Yeah, unless you have another special meeting before.
So, well, they've got to go to the commissioners. I don't know how that happens. Where you go or, so,
Next meeting.
so I think they're all very worthwhile organizations. Speranza has to know today. The others, I would say, are not as urgent as the foundations, the art doesn't argue transportation. This is kind of a general thought.
But we have not voted on that, so let's do that one. So I would entertain a motion on Peter County Coroner's Office / Remedy Bias application. So we push it back forward to the,
All 30,000.
yes, 30,000 to the commissioners with our recommendation.
Which group of funding, restricted?
Yes. Next motion. Second, any questions or discussions? That is 30,000. Yes. That pays for the program. We're geared toward youth programming. We haven't done a lot of that with the opioids, so it's pretty. It's good group. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. So that one we will take to them. We have one table, one approved. All for one ministries, what we can decide. Not quite ready for that one, or not opioid specific enough.
It sounds like that's the sense of the committee. I would be in a position where I will be voting yes the full amount. I'm a big believer in what to do. I understand that's not the consensus around the room.
Sure. I'm just concerned on the balance, but
Use 30,000. Roughly 200.
And there's what. Unrestricted.
Unrestricted, yes. But it doesn't. It's not a city. It's unrestricted. Yeah.
I guess. I would make a motion that we don't recommend, and it's a good program, personally, for me, so.
And I've
It's not,
said
it's
that.
that's the.
The question is that, the council not recommend that all one ministry grant application. And make that motion, is there a second? Second. Comes to second, any questions or discussions about that? All, okay. It's a tough one. It is.
It's not that it's not a good reason. Right. Right. Not that it's not good, just you gotta be.
It makes it tougher when we have less money than we have.
We did say we can ask for up to. So partners.
Okay. So, I guess in terms of further discussion, I hate to just it to be zero. Is there some type of middle ground? Sounds like what they're doing, they've already started and done this, and we would be buying into something that actually is going. I don't know if it's sustainable. When they put in their budget $200,000 ultimately, and to have 3 employees, I don't know that that's fairly realistic. But I'm in favor of giving them something. I'm not in favor of the full $40,000, but I'm in favor of giving them something. I'm not in favor of recommending nothing. And I understand wanting to make an impact. And I understand that and not wanting to just do a little bit of everything, but I'm in favor of doing something for them.
I agree on half of that 20,000 would be my lowest thinking.
Yeah, and I would vote I would vote for that.
Want to revise our motion?
Yeah, I rescind my second.
Okay.
You can do that.
How does that need to look, Judge? Does it just need to be no vote taken?
We'll vote on no motion, but we got some better ideas. Maybe.
Sure.
So the new motion is that we recommend 20,000 for all for one ministry for rather than 40. That would come from unrestricted opioid funds.
And I will make that motion.
Okay, Judge Bailey makes that.
I would say,
Bill makes the second. Now, any further questions or discussions or better motions since we're working off of that?
I think that's immensely reasonable. I'm still in a position where I'm gonna say no, because I think that'll be the whole thing, and that's okay.
All in favor of Judge Bailey's motion, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Just one.
One opposed, motion does carry us. They have $40,000. We will recommend 20, sorry. Recommending 20 there, we're recommending 30, so we have 50,000 that we are going to be recommending so far. Roughly 200. Now, I'm still curious on the
Yeah,
ones that
one
we
year.
use. It sounds,
Ironically, if you were to give 100 with the agreement, we would fund the art, we could get 100.
it sounds like.
I know, it really
Somehow
does,
sounds like they-
it really does,
I-
but if there's,
It would be a perfect way because you don't need that much money.
if you wanted to table so that we could do some further investigation and have a special meeting, so I could report back just to say,
I think you could ask questions to whoever's offering matching.
correct, that's the part I don't know.
What if we,
Right, we've been approached by, and for all I know, that they were approved for recovery works, they just aren't collecting. So,
I think special meeting, I think before we commit, we need to know for sure that we can do what we want
Right.
to do. Because the state may have, well, this requirement is you do this, which would be incompatible with what we're trying to achieve. So I'm not opposed to having another meeting for it. I mean, this is important. I mean,
Yeah.
this is a
if there's a way to leverage.
funding, and we want to go to the commissioners and we want to have credibility with them. And tell them, this is what we want to do, and then it needs to be something that can actually
I don't know
happen.
why Speranza couldn't buy the 3 vehicles and then donate one of them.
There's enough. If we can
And
get
actually, though, I think.
both sides happy with 50, because we get 100,
Well, we can't, we need to press the argument, make sure they're agreeable.
They would all-
Table it, can we do call a special public meeting next Friday, we'll hold it over Zoom or Teams. And then hopefully maybe Jennifer, you can have our answers.
Yeah,
yeah, but
we could read.
personally, I'm sorry, because
Yeah, I'm in favor, however you want to hold a meeting,
That
it's
should
just
still
fine.
get Commissioner. but I-
Abby, will you communicate along with Jennifer to Speranza and the ARC? Hey, we've had this idea. You guys need to put your heads together and bring us a joint proposal with what you can and can't do next Friday.
Next Friday.
we still have the van idea. I mean, we'll come up with that.
But may not need as much if you're, I'm assuming those are proposals for brand new vehicles.
Well, and that just dawned on me when I looked back to look at, when I was writing this. I think the GMA thing, if you're selecting the transportation category, that it actually said you have to lease the vehicle. I forgot about that part. So we have to lease it from you. I kind of forgot about that part.
Just do your,
Yeah, let me get some little bit more information on that. Like, could it be a lease? Oh, I don't.
So if we're leasing how many years and. Good question.
'Cause I'm assuming you, even if you lease something, eventually you can own it at the end, right? Lease to own.
lease.
And
So let me get some. I wonder if I need to talk to someone like Mike Stern, assume knows about that. Yes, so-
I'll make the motion that we table the requests made by the ARC and Speranza, which are both transportation related, until we can get some more answers on the matching grant that Speranza does possibly have, whether that could be made to benefit the total package for the ARC as well. I'll make that motion, and then we table it long enough so that we can, and we will have to have a special meeting.
And maybe we call a special meeting now? Would that be the good idea as?
Go ahead, go ahead.
Call it in the recess.
Well, he can do everything he's doing and then also call for the special meeting so that we have on the calendar if we need it. If they can get it together, if they can't, we can cancel it, but there's probably some notice requirement for the public.
It's a week and I'll post all it.
So that might be helpful.
Can you just recess this meeting? Because I know with the election board, once we announce it, public a meeting, we can always recess and we are announcing during the public meeting when we're going to reconvene. And we don't have to publish.
Motion would then be to reconvene this meeting next Friday at whatever time.
Lunch. Noon.
Is that everybody okay with team?
well, I'm all lunch.
Matt's and team.
And your other motion, I guess the motion that we haven't done yet is to do the tabling.
Until this next meeting, and we're just.
And I will make that motion.
Seconded by Matt, second by Matt.
Yeah, I have a question. How would you like me to write this in the minutes? Just so that it's all on the up and up.
So the motion for today's meeting would be to table the applications from Speranza and the ARC.
Until additional information is acquired
Yes.
for the special meeting.
Until special meeting.
And we're recessing this meeting and reconvening it next Friday. Is that what we're saying? At
Right,
noon.
So who motioned for the tabling? Judge Bailey and Mr. Honing.
Then what are we doing with foundation?
Yes, address that in December makes sense.
and we will know what we have left. Know what we can do and know what we spent today. assuming commissioners. Go along with it, go along with it. Yep.
Okay,
All right. So that is, let's talk about the next meeting, that's December 5 at 12:30. For today, I will entertain a motion that we, well,
before we break, did you have the vote on that one motion? Madam Secretary, do you have?
For the tabling?
Yes, is that already, did we vote on that?
No.
So we've had a motion, we have a second. Further discussion then?
all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. So the motion to table that's carried. Go into a formal adjournment since we are just reconvening.
I move we recess until next Friday at noon.
All right.
Proceeded.
Motion is that we recess until next Friday at noon. Do I have a second?
Second.
Questions, discussions, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion to recess. Here, it's everybody. Thank you.
Yes, the 12th.